Hey everybody, how's it going? Can you hear me okay? It is officially autumn where I live, and I'm very excited about it because it's my favorite time of year. And I had kind of a rotten mental health week last week, so it's easier for me to like get out and actually enjoy the fall colors. So I hope that you're also enjoying fall. I hope that you have your favorite tunes on. I hope that you have a warm beverage because I sure do. And we're gonna keep working on this handsome lad right here. So we still have to do this layer highlight on his skin, and we also have like basically the rest of him to do too. So before I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a dark gray blue base coat on the little bits of his shirt, and then I'm going to wash it. And then while the wash is drying, we'll go back and we'll work on the skin. Hello, chat. Hello, Dan the Ghost. How's it going? And Solar. It's always lovely to see you in the chat. Um, I'm hoping that this will just be like a really nice, chill stream. I had a very like emotionally exhausting week last week, so it's nice to just do a little bit of paint and sort of forget about, you know, forget about the past and not worry too much about the future, but just to sit here and paint with all of you. Oh, also, I got a special delivery. I got a bunch of new brushes. These ones are officially my new favorite. So, ordered these from the UK. These are Rosemary and Co. and they're Michael Klein paintings.com like special edition. And they're just like my absolute favorite. So I got a bunch of them because they're actually pretty inexpensive. Like even the big ones I think are $5, something like that. So I'm super excited. I still have a lot of life left in this Shiraz. These ones last a really long time. So I'm just going to continue using this one. But very excited. I'm stocked up, ready for an autumn and winter full of painting, hopefully. Dan says, hope everything is okay. Hobby time is always good to chill and relax. Everything is fine. I have like I've always sort of struggled with anxiety and being neurospicy, um it makes interpersonal relationships difficult and I oftentimes feel very lonely. So yeah, I had like an episode and yeah, I don't know. It's just sometimes you just got to sit in your sadness for a while. So I had to sit in my sadness. But thankfully, as I get older, those episodes get shorter and shorter. I still feel quite lonely, like I'm very isolated. I work from home. I don't have any friends that are local to me. Um, so I do quite often feel very, very sad and lonely. I have like people that I can play games with, but like none of them want to. No, I shouldn't say none of them, but most of them don't want to be friends. Um, so that's just like the feelings that I've always struggled with. This lad is so handsome. I don't think I'm gonna actually wash the inside right here because it's very tight to his face. So I think I'm just gonna like hit some of the higher edges with this blue as a highlight, and I think that that'll be good. That'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, I think that's good. And I'm just going to do a little bit on his shirt back here. I actually really love this color blue. The coverage is fantastic, and it's like a little bit muted, but the pigment payoff is still amazing. It's one of my favorites. Solar says, such pointy tips. Yes. Um, that's really all you need in a good brush. I think that's the only real like consistent thing that people tell you about choosing a brush. So I like these Michael Klein ones because they do have an amazing tip, but they're soft enough um, that I can get into tight spaces and I can edge highlight and stuff, but they also snap back. Like quite often when you get a sable brush, you will paint something, the bristles will bend, and then you'll have to like put it back into shape. Whereas these Michael Klein ones, I think, are like um, best of both worlds. I think like snappy, but a little bit soft. Yeah, I'm gonna do a class. I'm gonna do like a painting class, series of classes, and we're gonna talk about brush selection a little bit, like the different qualities of a brush that you may like or you may dislike. I want to give people the room to explore what works best for them. Whether that's an expensive sable brush or, a cheaper synthetic, like what I prefer. I want to set the groundwork of people approaching it. I want people to trust themselves to make their own decisions. I feel like there's a lot of painters out there who don't trust their own decisions, don't trust their own likes, and so they try things that other people suggest, and then they're like, why don't I appreciate this? Like, why is this not working for me the way it works for other people? Okay, so that's on. Hey, Mr. Fish, how's it going? Dan says, I get that since my strokes. I struggle to leave the house now unless it's all planned out. It's been a struggle for my wife and son to adjust to. Yeah. So my dad had a stroke when I was in high school, and it is a huge adjustment, and it takes many years to adjust. And I just feel very lucky that um, in my area there's a wonderful program called, at the time it was called Central Okanagan Brain Injury Society, but now it's called Brain Trust Canada, and they provided us with a lot of support, like not just my dad, but the family as well. So I hope that you have access to something like that as well. Um, and we've done fundraisers for Brain Trust before, so maybe it's time we do another one. Something to consider. Um, Pesler, good day to you, Mistress of War. Good day to you, Pesler. I hope that you're doing well. Mr. Fish says bent bristles are for those hard to reach spots where you don't do sub assemblies, right? Actually, so I will say that I prefer having a brush that has a little bit of a hook on the end for edge highlighting. So I like a bit of a well-loved lived-in brush for edge highlighting. I just find it's a lot easier to get control on that edge highlight. So, yeah. Um, and yeah, I never paint sub-assemblies. I shouldn't say never, but it's very rare for me. Solar says, please tell me you're doing the class on YouTube. I'd watch all of it. I might transfer it to a video format if it goes well, right? Like if it's going to exist forever on the internet, I would like to maybe teach it a few times in person to learn what is like not necessary and what is uh like what I'm missing out of the class and all that. So we'll let the peoples on in real life, we'll let them be the guinea pigs and tell me what I'm missing. But yeah, I'm gonna sit down and make the curriculum for that. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this week. I might be able to do it this week. I picked up an amazing book, by the way. It's nonfiction, and it's about. I just started it, and I had to like. I don't know if you've ever been reading a book, but I had to literally stop myself from reading more last night because it was late. I was like, I could read this book all night. I could finish this tonight. But it's called American Cosmic, and it's kind of like how to describe it. It's looking at UFO phenomena and how it affects religious belief in our society today. It's very interesting. Very interesting. And it's sort of told through the lens of a researcher who's been welcomed into a group of clandestine researchers. So these are, how to explain it? They are scientists at the top of their game in all of their like separate fields. And their hobby is like studying UFOs, I guess. So they do it clandestinely because they don't want it to affect their other projects, which is sad in a way, um, that it has so much stigma that you can't just like exist um, studying something that you want without it literally having the chance of affecting your career. But I'm really excited to get tucked into it. It's a short one, so I think I'll finish it this week, and I don't want to overcommit because, I may end up just reading this book and forgetting all of my commitments. Dan says, "What's your thoughts on the new Space Marine Codex? Haven't even seen anything about it." So for me, I have a really hard time learning stuff, and I'm having a hard time learning my own army, so I don't want to put another set of rules on top of it. I'll just come across those rules when I play against them inevitably, and I'll continue working on what I need to work on, because nothing makes me feel more stupid than Warhammer 40k. I'm just gonna say it. I completely and utterly understand why people don't want to play this game. It is so intimidating. There's so much to learn. Solar says, you've got the makings of the best kind of teacher. When I was in university, I wanted to be a teacher. And then I was like, this is really brutal sitting in these classes, listening to people use big words, but like not understanding what those big words mean and using them out of context. When I just want to listen to what the teacher has to say and do this classic get out. So maybe I'd be a good teacher, but I'm not a good student, if that makes sense. Uh, but Yeah, I would absolutely love to be a teacher. It also really bugs me when like I'm teaching something to somebody and somebody else steps in because I've got a plan. I've got a plan to teach this person all the little things that nobody else thinks to teach. So when somebody comes in and messes up my flow, it bothers me. Happened to me at the game store. Bothers me a lot. So, we got our wash on. I'm going to now put this ridiculously bright yellow green into the palette, and then I'm going to glaze on the very tip top highlight of his skin while I'm waiting for that wash to dry. You can also tell that the medium is a little bit different in some of these paints because they almost get like rubberized. So when it dries, it kind of turns into this like rubbery kind of stuff. And I find paints that do that make it like rubbery. They do better for glazing. That medium, excellent for glazing. So as much as I love my monument hobbies, this does not do that. This gets crunchy. It gets crunchy. None of this is rubbery. It's crunchy. It'll be all flaky. And it's not good for glazing. It is amazing for base coats, though. Solar says, "You understand what it's like to struggle with things. Worst teachers forget that they were students at some point." I actually agree with that, and I think sometimes people assume a base amount of knowledge when they shouldn't. I assume that there's zero knowledge, and I don't place any judgments on it, right? Because I lack knowledge in a lot of places. So I'm just going to do a little bit of this crazy fluorescent green, and it's just going to be in places where it makes sense to have a few highlights. His little nose, his nosy should have some of this. Eyebrow ridges. Little on the cheeks. Definitely on the ears. Definitely up here. We'll have to do this in several different layers just to build up the pigment. It's a bit of a process, but like I was saying last time, I never really learned how to paint spheres any other way, and like basically a bald head is a sphere. So I'm going to be doing a team tournament next month, and I'm very nervous about it because I'm obviously like the worst player on my team, and I hate feeling like I'm the weakest link. I hate feeling that I'm gonna let everybody down, and the team obviously wants me to be there because I tried to get out of it. So I need to really work on my mentality a little bit. But I'm on like this horrible losing streak. I just changed my list. Uh, It's a big losing streak, and the people that we're playing against are going to be very competitive. So I'm super nervous about it. I had a good coaching session with Alex on on Friday. So he thinks he'll do fine. He's going to be our coach also for the event, which is going to be nice to have the support. But yes, very nervous about the whole thing. Let's see here. Let's get caught up. Solar says, oh, I already read that one. Dan says, I always enjoy your shorts that explains certain moves in 40k. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of comments, like almost angry comments on those videos from like months ago saying that's not what it's like anymore. And I don't know if you just can't see when something was posted. But it's getting really, really tiring to answer those comments all the time. So it's just so difficult for me to want to continue making those when the shelf life of those types of content, like, it's not evergreen. Um, yeah, somebody was really nasty in the comments about how I'm spreading misinformation and I should take down all my old videos and all of this. And I was like, I mean, you do have a point, but at the same time, I made this over a year ago. So it's really difficult for me to want to make those videos. Um, I did enjoy making them. I don't know if I enjoy making them more than dealing with the comments. So I have to keep thinking about it. To keep thinking about it. Bat Kid, how's it going? Finally made it early enough for the stream. Dang, that orc skin looks amazing. Thank you. Yeah, so the skin is what I take the most time on. Everything else I just do very quickly, but it kind of creates a really interesting style that I really enjoy. Who took my dice? Hello. He's looking great. Thank you. Mr. Fish says, people really can't tell that they were ninth ed videos. No, they can't, Mr. Fish. Um, Mr. Fish also says, I mean, if you want to shut him up, just add an asterisk ninth ed to the titles. I could. I could, maybe. Just a lot of them. Um, who took my dice says, are they not listening to them? You actually state the edition of the game you're talking about. The old ones I don't. The old ones I don't. The new ones I do. Um, and I even did a 10th edition one about mortal wounds and wound allocation. And while this is definitely not my fault, people are starting to ask, well, isn't that different now? Well, no, mortal wounds are the same, but they change devastating wounds. You know, like, everything just changes so often with Warhammer that it makes it very difficult to make these rules videos. So I'm not I'm not sure what the right judgment call is because I don't want to be spreading misinformation. Like, I always wanted to help people with those. Um so yeah, I need to think about it. I went to the pumpkin patch yesterday with my mother-in-law, and she's just so cute. She's a gardener, a farmer, if you will. So she like totally geeks out over plants and stuff. And I just find it such a joy to be around her enthusiasm for growing things. So it was really nice to get out of the house and touch grass, and but you might also see I've got scratches. I got pretty scratched up from all the plants. We actually went to get squash because the squash at that particular farm is incredible. Lasts a really long time too, so we got a bunch. You did a lot of legwork in ninth. I did a lot of stuff in ninth, and I'm very tired. Um, I'm very tired. Solar says, keep in mind that the ratio of comments to views makes comments in general a vocal minority. Negative comments, even smaller ones. For sure, like, I'm not saying it's like all bad or whatever. It's just like they just literally brought up a great point in that like this information isn't true anymore because everything's changed. Uh, and while yeah, I just don't want to deal with them. It's not that I put too much like thought into what people think about me. It's just my time spent online gets harder and harder to do all the time. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I just want to go outside. So when I have to spend time dealing with comments that are kind of like critical or that require a lot of explanation now because all of the rules have changed, it's just a little tiring. It's just tiring. Like last week when I was in my darkness, the only thing I wanted to do was like literally delete all of my accounts. And that's probably like the depression and anxiety speaking, but it's also a little bit just like kind of just want to break sometimes from the comments. Also somebody made a comment, a weird comment in my local game group, and it was a weird comment, and I feel like people who are not content creators just really might not understand why those comments are uncomfortable. Because I literally think the person who made it thought that they were being really nice, but I am not. I'm like just the worst content creator ever. Because I'm like I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be singled out in a crowd. I just want to create stuff and then be invisible in real life. I don't want people to know who I am. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. I literally think I am the worst content creator. But I like to create stuff and I like to hang out on stream with you all. So I gotta like do some soul searching, I think, and figure out how I can keep creating, but also maybe how I can find ways to be a nobody in real life, not get recognized. I mean, it's difficult when you're like one of the only women on like you're one of two women that you see regularly on big battle report channels. It's going to be difficult. I accept that, but maybe I don't want that. I don't know. Do some soul searching. Let's get caught up on chat here. Solar says, as of time of recording is the magic phrase. Yeah, see, but like, now I have a list of things that I have to put into this 1 minute short, right? I have to make sure that I'm mentioning that it's 10th edition. I now also have to say, as of time of recording. I have to cram a lot of information into those 1 minute shorts that, like, I'm not going to get the whole amount of information in as soon as I have to put all these little asterisk things in the 1 minute short. Um, so it's just hard to deal with. As it is, I edit a lot of stuff out of those shorts. Mr. Fish says, I wonder if book writers feel remorse when science, math, or history books change. Just saying it's not misinformation that you're spreading, it's dated information. Sure. Hey Rob, how's it going? Solar says grass does need to be touched. It gets lonely. I honestly feel like humans just need to be outside more. Who took my dice? The darkness can really suck, I know. Yeah, it does, but like you can't escape it. It's better to sit in it for a while and process what you're feeling. Jeff says start wearing a luchador mask online. Why is that? Who took my dice says you haven't seen my stuff. Absolute trash. I wouldn't say that about your stuff. Worst content creator ever. I beg to differ. Your name's Tangent.Alex. I I just feel like the worst content creator in terms of my attitude about things. It feels like a lot of creators want to be influencers. They just want to have the most followers so that they can get free stuff. Um, yeah, and for me, I don't want free stuff. I have enough stuff. I have enough clutter in my house. I don't need any more. Um, and and yeah, I just don't feel the need to grow my channel in such a way. I don't feel the need to have like a giant amount of followers or anything like that. That's just what I mean about being the worst content creator. I feel like most content creators enjoy the spotlight. And for me, it's very difficult to deal with any amount of spotlight. I find it very uncomfortable. Dan says you always be our war mistress. That's true. Or you could disable comments. I could disable comments. Rob says you do what you need to for your mental health. We're just voices on the internet. Well, your voices are great voices. I appreciate these voices. Mr. Fish, The Darkness. The lead singer of The Darkness has a podcast that's absolutely wonderful, by the way. Um, you said you didn't want to be recognized in real life. Yeah, I think that that's. I think that the anonymity stage, the opportunity for that, I think is gone. Ahoy, Zan! It's good to have you here. Rob says you could pull a Daft Punk Marshmallow Deadmau5 and wear a helmet in public. I think I'd have to start all over again if I was gonna do that. Like start all new channels. Also have a voice modulator. All that stuff. Uh, it is possible. It is possible that I could do that. Or I could just be one of those, what do they call them? You know, people who stream, but they've got like that little AI, like avatar thing. It's not themselves. It's a little avatar. Could maybe get some sort of avatar. Solar says clout chasing and art are two different things. Tom Waits and Taylor Swift are different. Uh, and they're really interactive fancy. Yeah, I I actually think that Taylor Swift's new album Midnights or whatever is actually pretty good, and I'll say that as somebody who's not a Swiftie. Um, I yeah, I guess I just don't feel like an artist either. Like I do in some ways, but not in. I feel like more of an educator. I guess I could start looking at my shorts that I make in more of a artistic, creative light. Full Big Mac cosplay with a dice tower in the Power Claw. A Big Mac cosplay. Cosplay is something I don't feel the need to jump into. I know a lot of people get into Warhammer and immediately want to do cosplay, but I just think to myself, like, I don't need another ridiculously expensive hobby. Do you know what I mean? Hey, Sirkan, happy Monday. Rob says, I appreciate the anonymity VTubers get. If I were to stream, I think I'd want to do that for the anonymity. Yeah, I totally understand. Um, it must just be really nice, you know? Zan, oh, you're talking to Solar. Um, says, well, painting. Well, not an artist. So, like, I, f- I feel as though my painting is kind of artistic, uh, in some ways. But when I create stuff, like when I'm streaming and stuff, I don't see that as art. When I make shorts, I don't see that as art. Maybe I should. I never used to see my painting as art, but I'm starting to look at it that way. I'm starting to get there. It's funny because I actually see um my wardrobe as like I see the stuff I wear when I get dressed, choosing an outfit as more of an artistic expression than painting sometimes. How messed up is that? It's pretty messed up. But I guess like my miniature painting is artistic because I like I never ever want to watch a tutorial. I just have a vision in my head of something that I want to try, or I just follow my heart. I guess that's kind of artistic. Okay. I feel like his skin is getting pretty close here. Want a little bit more opacity up here. Okay. What do we think of that skin? That last glaze on top, I think just makes everything kind of pop. I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bold titanium white into my palette, and I'm going to start mixing highlights for this shirt. We'll do this shirt real quick. What am I going to want to put as orange on this guy? I've been putting more orange on these. I think I might do... I want there to be quite a bit of blue on it still. I'll put the blue on, and then I'll start putting orange on to just pick out some little pieces. Let's get caught up on chat. Um, Zan says that opens up a whole different line of questioning whether all painting is art. I don't think that all painting is art. I also don't think that all art is necessarily just like conventional art, right? I think sometimes like scientists are artistic um, in their thought process and things. It's kind of more the intent behind what you're creating. I think that is art. Mr. Fish says, I just want to make a shoota and choppa because wah, do it. And streams are banter while you create. Creating is art. That's true. Who took my dice says, I'm fighting the urge to pick up a whole line of pirate bruisers. They look so cool. Well, funny you should say that because our October sale is on at geargutsmechshop.com. So the entire month you can pick up your minis at 20% off, excluding super heavy walkers. And I mean, the knots are still included, but you can't get like a mech grandpa or a mech daddy, but you can get, or mech babies, but you can get knots still. You are an artist. Thank you. Took my dice. Zan says, if you mean by that feel like the way you dress is more expressive than your mini painting, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I think that that's kind of true. Maybe it's not more expressive, but it's equally expressive. Dan says, your orcs are always wonderfully done. I would feel so guilty if my ultramarines killed them. Oh, it's working then. I'm just joking. Thank you, Rob. Zan says, I don't know that I wholly subscribe to the idea that art must be expressive, but it's a reasonable criterion. I don't know if it needs to be expressive, but I think it needs to be creative. Right? So paint by numbers, if you're following like the paint by numbers, I'm not sure that I would consider that art, right? Because you're just sort of following instructions. Um, but it's still kind of expressive and it's still kind of art if we look at art as just being like, using color on canvas or something like that. It's all kind of messy. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of white into this dark gray blue, and I'm going to start putting some layer highlights on here. That wash has made it a little bit shiny, so it's a little difficult to see what needs to be painted here. I think I also used to feel like my miniature painting was very paint by numbers. It's definitely formulaic. I think my particular creative expression with my minis comes from the color choices and what parts of the miniature I decide to put more effort into than others. Like I know the miniature painting masters will just paint literally everything to the best of their ability. I don't feel the need to do that. So sometimes the art is in what you're not painting as opposed to what you are painting, if that makes sense. Who took my dices? Ooh, a mech daddy. Hello. Sirkon says, nails look nice today. Thanks. This one broke along the side, so I'm actually going to take them down next set and rebuild them. So they'll be short, but that's okay, because they're actually a little bit too long. It's starting to get difficult to type for work. Mr. Fish says, building a model by instructions is constructive, but I wouldn't call it art. Using the models in a diorama, kit bashing, painting the minis, writing fluff, those are all artistic. I agree, actually. Technique is a tool of art, not the totality. For sure. But the way that you put all of your different techniques together on a piece is in itself artistic. Yeah, and the ghost says, totally agree with Mr. Fish. Dan says, oh yeah, the nails are looking good. Are these for your night haunt? Yeah, these ones are supposed to, the blue one's supposed to change. Let's see if I can get it to change. My hands are very cold right now, which is supposed to look more like the skin color of my night haunt. So I did get the win. So maybe there is something to painting your nails like your army. Although I need the wins in 40k, so maybe I should go back to my orange nails. Get some of the blue and green to sort of match the colors. Maybe that's what I need to do. Yeah, no, I'm just so cold. Like, I just don't think I can get these nails to change color. No, they're not going to change color. Well, you can kind of see difference, but they go to this like really spooky, ghostly blue when they're warm. Okay. So now comes the stressful part of painting these highlights here and not nicking the skin that we just completed. Little stressful. But I don't have to do like an incredibly precise job on these highlights. I don't want to actually take anything away from the face. That's pretty good. I can go ahead and mix a little bit more white in with our blue. Do a few more layer highlights here. I might need a little bit more white. A little. Go. I'm in the zone, y'all. I'm in the flow state. Mr. Fish says, I have a few squigs in my army with color schemes based on some of your nail designs. I'm super curious now. I do approach my nail designs kind of the same way that I usually approach my miniatures. So I like to have contrasting colors. Uh, yeah, that's mostly it. Like, contrasting colors make me really happy. So I like to have one nail that's kind of like, at least one, that's kind of, um, I guess that stands out, at least one. But my next set are gonna be orange, because Halloween, right? So I think that they're going to be orange with some black accents. That's what I think. Maybe I'll try to do like a jack-o'-lantern nail. See if I can paint some freehand. Freehand's not my forte, but we can try. Did your nails help in your league? I'm not sure. I won my game, but I'm not really taking the AOS league super seriously. If I was, I'd be playing ogres. I wouldn't be playing Nighthaunt. Because ogres are deadly. And I just understand them. We have an understanding, ogres and myself. I think in November I might paint a bit of guard. I think I'm gonna get a combat patrol, and I'm gonna build it like the combat patrol. I tried to put together like a combat patrol based off what I have built, and I just don't have the right stuff. And they were talking about doing a combat patrol event at the store, and I would like to do that. So I think that's what I do. I think November will be guard. Maybe what I'll do is I will literally prime everything, and we will paint it all and see if I can get it done in a month. Which is a lofty goal for myself because I paint slow. Real slow. But October, I can't paint anything but orcs in October. You know? It's like sacrilegious to do anything other than orcs. So what I actually think is, I think I might put this guy down after this particular session. Either that or I'll finish him off stream, and then we will work on the big boy. The big boy. Because Gearguts always does a new big boy every October, and mine is sitting in a box on the table behind me. So, and I have to paint him. So I think that might be what I do is I put this one aside and I start working on that. I'm also working on these guys, which are almost done. So these guys, I just have to do their little squigs on top and then their scenic bases, and then they're done. So we're getting there. Mr. Fish says, off the top of my head, the most notable is when you did the white and blue leopard print. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I didn't do those ones. My old nail tech did. Um, yeah, those ones were really fun, actually. I wish I had an understanding with one of my armies. Rob, I feel that. I feel that. It's easier to understand Age of Sigmar because you just have less rules and weird interactions. Um, so yeah, I would. I have less problems with them, and I only have two armies with no desire to really start anything else. Um, But I feel that for 40K. Like, man, it is still super complicated. And I'm having a hard time learning how to play orcs because I'm a very defensive player, and the nature of the WoW means that I kind of have to learn how to be aggressive, and I'm not good at it. I'm just not good at it. Um, so yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm on a crazy lose streak right now. So yeah, got to drop. Thanks for stopping by, Rob. I hope that your meeting goes well. I hope that you don't have to, be on mute while you're screaming into the void. As I hear people who have to do meetings sometimes feel. Okay. Let's see if I can do a little edge highlighting here. That's the other thing about these nails that I have now. They're just like a little bit too long. They're kind of getting in the way of me painting. Time to chop them down a little bit. Start over. I usually just grow them out to a certain point until they get too long, and then instead of just taking them down a little bit, I'll just like, no, gone. Start over. And we're at that point. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about where this is at. Just gonna hit a little bit more up here. There we go. Let's get caught up with the chat here. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Your dang orc flesh is so fantastic. Thank you. I mean, I spend more time on the characters than I do on the boys, so it's obviously not as nuanced on just the rank and file dudes. So, but I'm getting there. I have my style. I'm actually really happy with how these orcs are turning out. Mr. Fish says AOS is definitely a learning curve while also learning 10th ed. Like, I feel like stupid for trying to do both. And Age of Sigmar has been going more onto the back burner as I'm trying to figure out 10th edition, and it's tough. It's tough. Um, Mr. Fish says, I'm really enjoying Orcs in 10th, but I need to castle more. I'm too aggressive. We'll talk about that later. Sure. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Yeah. I don't know how to do that. Very defensive, very reactive. Um, okay, so yeah, I'm really happy with where that's at. His shirt's done, which looks great with that green. Like the muted blue and the bright green. I just really love that look. It's a good look. So I'm gonna put this guy aside. This week I'm gonna finish my Beast Nega boys, and then I'm gonna build the big boy. So then next week we're gonna work on the big boy. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do his skin because the skin's just gonna be this. So I'm gonna do his skin offline, and we'll basically start the big boy at this level next week. So it's like we're continuing on. It's just gonna be a different model. So yeah, that'll be my plan for this week. What else do I have? I have a practice game for the teams thing. I'm going Orcs versus Custodes, so I have no idea what to expect. The person that I'm playing against is a better player than me, and I think I've gotten like one win against him ever. So I don't have high hopes for winning the game, but I have high hopes for learning a bunch of stuff. Um, Mr. Fish and I are recording something fun coming up soon, so that should be coming out next week. What else do I have this week? Oh, oh yeah, something big. So Saturday, I will be guest on Voodoo Six Paints charity live stream. So I believe that that's over on Twitch. But if you follow me on Instagram, I will be posting a link to that closer to the day. I will be on between 6 and 7 o'clock p.m. Saturday Pacific time. And as far as I know, it's 24-hour stream, so by that point, Voodoo will probably be a zombie. Um, so it's probably just gonna be me trying to keep him awake for the last little stretch of the stream. So yeah, that's what I'm doing Saturday. I've got a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm gonna hopefully figure out what I'm gonna do with the YouTube shorts. If I'm going to continue on with them, how I'm going to approach it, how I'm going to hopefully be more clear about things. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try and do a short this week as well about something. So, yeah, that's what I got going on this week. If you have any questions for me, as always, send me a message, but the Discord is the best way of getting in touch with me. And if you want to play games, I hope that you get some games in. If you want to paint minis, I hope that you get some time to paint. And until next time, be nice and roll dice. Bye, everybody.